love that freeze frame. Yes. Welcome back to another episode of the ThoseMovieDudes podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Jonathan, here to talk about movies, new releases, first-time watches, do a little trivia, answer a few of Ducky's questions along the way. You, of course, can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X. Go and hit us up on YouTube if you want to watch the show, see me in some sunglasses, look at Nate in a t-shirt from high school, and, of course, see Spencer freezing his ass off in his office. But I'm going to go ahead and bring in our other dudes. Let's welcome Ducky and Debbie. Yeah.
Yay. What happened to Nate? He was just
I think
there.
I'm clicking. I'll stop.
Here I am.
Armpits.
Wow.
Yep. We're both trying too hard. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the ThoseMovieDudes podcast. What's up?
Yeah. It's been 2 weeks, hasn't it? Wow.
It has been 2 weeks. It has certainly been 2 weeks, although it feels like we just did this. But I missed it. You know, I was thinking about it today. I'm like, I want to talk about some movies, you know?
No, you don't have to lie to us. It's okay.
Nate has a movie on in the background, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. And
oh my God, this is fucking Paris, Texas.
Sweet.
Oh no. Yeah. That's
okay,
right.
because we have an episode on Life is Sweet in our podcast feed. So go ahead. Nice plug, Nate. Nice plug. I don't know if that was subtle or I don't know if that was intentional, but thank you.
I'm almost
It's
positive.
just a fun, light movie that I like to watch, so I'm just like, whatever.
Don't I have a collector's corner ranked, and I'm pretty sure this is at the very bottom.
Okay.
I'm pretty
Wouldn't
sure it's
surprise
ranked
me.
the worst of like the 50
black eye or
episodes.
something? What's going on with the sunglasses here?
I just thought I would look cool today, like Blues
Oh.
Brothers or something like that.
Oh,
And that was your idea?
I don't know. I was trying to be cool.
I just
trying to be
hide.
different. I
You're
can
trying
take
to
them off
hide,
if you want.
I guess, because it's inside.
Yeah, my dad beat me up at brunch today, so here we are.
Oh, happy
You're
birthday!
paying for it. It's my birthday.
Your
Yeah,
brunch
yeah.
lasted all the way to 6 o'clock.
It
Wow.
lasted a long time. We got there at 2, and I don't think we left until 4. So it was quite a while. Yeah, I know.
Holy, how long does it take to
Timothy's
eat?
over Nate's shoulder is just fucking killing me right now.
It was stupid ass.
It's the giant close-up wide angle of Timothy Spall's fat face.
He does his best. That movie was horrendous. Wasn't there a weird thing about a spoon?
You'll have to go and listen to our episode to get our
Not
full
good.
thoughts. But yeah, okay.
John, just because you didn't like it, I love this movie. And for those
I think-
out there who do, I'm with you.
My opinion transcends generations. I feel like I speak for a lot of people knowing that they would not like that movie if they put it on right now. Maybe not most of our listeners, but the general public would not enjoy Life is Sweet.
I don't
Well,
know
that's
about
an
that. I mean,
opinion, and that's why we all have them.
yeah.
Right.
I
Opinions
liked
are
it.
like assholes.
I don't know if I'd watch it many times, but yeah, no, it was decent.
Gun to your head when you put it on again right now.
Hmm?
What?
I mean, kind of my head, yeah. I'd put on probably anything.
If you had to watch Life is Sweet or National Treasure, which one would you rather watch?
I think I would rather watch National Treasure.
Okay, there you go. Point made. This doesn't make any sense.
There's no point.
Pitch Perfect
no
or Life
points
is Sweet?
made.
Come on.
I'd watch Life is Sweet over Pitch Perfect.
Wow. Okay, Rebel Wilson. So
Thank
much for
you.
you. Yeah, that's fair.
So I was with my coworker on this trip, and we were going through the in-flight movies, trying to like scroll through, and they had a couple of Rebel Wilson movies, like Isn't It Romantic and How to Be Single. And so he came across How to Be Single. He's like, "You ever seen this one?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's cute. It's a fun one." And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm a big Fat Amy fan."
Big Fat Amy. Let's no way. Oh my God.
I'm like, wait, Fat Amy, it's Rebel Wilson. Oh, Pitch Perfect. It took me a second to realize like who he was talking about, but I was like,
Fat
wait,
Amy, baby.
Fat Amy. Okay, yeah. It's like a big Fat Amy fan.
She's like, you call yourself Fat Amy? Yeah, so skinny bitches like you don't call behind my back. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He quotes the whole movie to you over the entire flight.
I wish, but no, it didn't happen. But I'd say let's just hop into our first little segment here. You down to do that there, mainstream boy?
I suppose so.
Oh,
Let's do it.
Fair enough. Oh,
This is movie
News. Peter. Thanks again,
Golichy.
buddy. Yeah, thanks StreamYard. It's really worth it. Really worth the price. Yeah.
Wonderful. Movie news. Do you have graphics for this? Because I don't have any graphics for this.
No, it's literally just for that
you wanna
moment.
look at that?
Take it away
Okay.
now if you want. Okay.
Fair enough.
That's all it is. I don't know.
We're slowly regressing.
Well, I just have some more, questions, little icebreaker questions for you guys, little check-ins, as I should say. So this week, 2023
How are we
check-in.
feeling? What's the
How we
left
feeling?
must watch? It's
What's
so
up
many
in the
words.
year?
I don't know.
Must watches, Oscar season picks. What's your end of the year goal?
I can't read
So I
that.
just wanted to kind of check in here with the 2023 watches. We obviously, all three of us have seen so many movies that have released in 2023. A lot of them in theaters, a lot of them on streaming, and we like to think that we could be your go-to source of new release movies and what you should check out, especially as the year is coming to an end and everyone's making those best of the year like watches or lists and stuff like that, and you want to add some movies to your watch lists. So this is our chance to recommend, talk about what's left of the year, like what movies we're looking forward to watching, and yeah, see what happens. So I'm gonna start with Nate. You said that you're recently at what? How many movies? 48?
40 something, maybe close to 50.
Okay. And before we started recording, you mentioned, oh, if I watch 2 movies a day, I could probably get up to 100 movies. I don't think that's a realistic thing that's going to happen. But what would you say is your end of the year goal for you? What number would you at least like to hit that you think is attainable?
If I can hit like 65 of 2023 movies, I'd consider that a success.
It's probably the most you've ever gotten in 1 year.
I got 70, I think, once 1 year, but I pick and choose. Like, just because this is 2023, I don't jump right on it and go, oh, I'm just gonna watch this. I watch the ones that are worth watching, I think.
You had 32 last year, so you've already transcended that. So I think I would take that as a win. You just keep going from here on out. You're already doing better. So
I don't think I'll ever hit 100. Like, I don't think that's possible for me because I like to watch other movies too, not just new ones.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But that's just me.
And John, you recently just passed 100 movies, which was your goal to hit by the end of the year. So you're about 5 weeks ahead of schedule, I would say.
Yeah. Hashtag road to 100. We did it. It's oddly was expecting a trophy to be mailed to me from somebody. Nothing.
You would be the one that would want a trophy.
Yeah, I figured I'd get the letterbox lifetime achievement award or something. But
Spencer
no,
got you beat, pal.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong. I won't receive that award probably ever. But no, I'm at 103 right now. I'm very proud of myself. And I've started to since I've hit that, I've started to rewatch some 4Ks that I have. So I've earned the right to do that.
So I was actually just talking with Nate before we were recording, and I recently rewatched 3 2023 movies.
Oh, wow.
Kind of unexpected. One of them was because of you, John. Not gonna lie, but
was it? There's no way you watched that again.
Okay, so
wait.
I recently looked at your list, and I saw that "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret" was number 7.
Dude, it's so
and I
good.
was like, "What?
You'd love that movie."
I looked at my list. It was number 62, which is a 3 out of 5. It's a solid B. But then I was like, okay, wait. I did watch that when I had COVID back in July, and I was just in a miserable mood and probably fell asleep during it. So let me go back and rewatch it. So that's what I did on Saturday morning. I watched it with Brooke as we had some Clayton's breakfast sandwiches and some coffee.
Yum.
And I mean, I liked it a lot more on the rewatch. So I think it jumped up maybe 20 positions or so.
Yeah.
Just out of my top 20 for me, but I liked it a lot more on a rewatch. But
I'm glad to hear that.
I had to go through some movies that I've already seen before to kind of see if I liked them more or liked them less. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I feel like at this time of the year, when we've already, added over 100 movies to our list, this is the time when you can really nail down, what's my top 10? Like which ones do I need to rewatch to really determine like is that a 4 or is that a 4.5? Does that deserve to be in
Or
my
is it a
top
5?
10? Is it a 5? Yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
another movie that I rewatched was The Killer, David Fincher's The Killer. I watched it on the plane, and I liked it just as much, if not maybe just a little bit more. If anything, it just made me really want a physical media copy of the movie and get a lot of special features and commentary and stuff. But I
Nice.
go 5, still went 4.5, but it still just solidifies the spot in my top 10 for sure, I think. But
I don't think I haven't
Michael
given anything
Fassbender,
a
man.
5 this year yet. I don't know. There's just nothing that's like perfect.
maybe
Not
4
quite yet.
5s, I think. But still, the rest of the
I
year we
have a
still
5.
have. Yeah, Nate just recently watched a movie where he says that it's his favorite of the year so far. Do you want to share or do you want to wait?
I'll share just because I don't know how long it's gonna stay. Number one, because we've
Okay.
got like
Yeah,
Poor
fair enough.
Things, Iron Claw, stuff that I'm expecting to
That's what we're
love.
going to talk about next. Yeah.
But it was Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. I don't know why.
Wow,
It was
really?
just an
No, I guess
intense
so.
thriller with an awesome friendship storyline, and Jake Gyllenhaal is just the most believable person. You put him in a military uniform, you'd believe he was a lifer, like he'd been in the military for years. And just the performances all around for him and the guy who played Ahmed, they they just clicked, and it was exciting. It was the first movie of the year that genuinely got like my heart racing during some of the scenes, almost like Gran Turismo had me feel like that. So yeah, it was just, I had just so much fun all throughout, and plus the story was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one too. It took me by surprise as to like how much I enjoyed it. It's at number 27 right now, but
So for me, I've
Yeah.
seen 142 movies of the year. That movie is in my top 20.
Wow.
I like that movie a lot. It was just because like I was so surprised by it because I went in with very little expectations. I think I saw somebody like post on Letterboxd that they gave it like a 4.5. I'm like, really? Like Guy Ritchie's The Covenant? Like I kind of just overlooked it and then went in and was wow. It was like, oh my god, this was really intense and riveting. So I liked it a
Yeah.
lot, and it's on Amazon Prime, so it's pretty accessible if you want to check it out.
I think I wrote it off because his name was in the title, and if you go on Letterboxd now, it does just say The Covenant.
Okay.
I think it's
but also
deserved,
it's just
though.
in general, it is a very generic title, so I just was like, Guy Ritchie hasn't really had that many movies that like wowed me. This was that movie. So,
But so we have, I don't know, 5 weeks left of the year. So we still have a lot of movies coming out. So I kind of want to figure out what movies we're most excited about out of all of these movies here. So I have a list of basically all the big ones that we'll most likely be talking about, or if not, I'm sure we'll be checking out. But we have May, December, Wonka, Poor Things, The Boy and the Heron, Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget, Rebel Moon, Part 1, American Fiction, The Iron Claw, Anyone But You, Aquaman 2, The Color Purple musical, whatever, Ferrari, and Maestro. So that's a pretty solid list of a lot of movies here that a lot of them have Oscar contention. A lot of them have critical acclaim already from film festivals. So these are, besides obviously some of the blockbusters with like Aquaman 2 and the Sydney Sweeney, Glenn Powell romantic comedy, Anyone But You. But
forget about that one. Yeah.
those are some big movies, obviously, left of the year. So out of all those movies that I just listed, which one are you most excited about? Let's start with you, Nate.
So I would go, like, if I were to pick 3, I would do Poor Things, because Yorgos Lanthimos can't do any wrong to me, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in the world that owns a Blu-ray of Dogtooth.
Okay.
Most likely.
Then definitely the Iron Claw, because
Yeah.
I love wrestling. I've loved wrestling my entire life. I know about the Von Erich family, and how tragic it all is. So I'm excited to see what Zac Efron does as Kerry Von Erich. And then You know what? I'm kind of excited for Chicken Run, man.
Dawn of the Nugget.
Good choice.
Like you go back to like stop motion animation, you have the Wallace and Gromit movies and stuff, but like the original Chicken Run is really good. And it's got one of the best songs in the soundtrack of Building the Crate.
Yeah,
is just it's awesome. Like the amount of times we listened to it in the gym in college, just listening to it and just it was awesome. But yeah, I'd give those 3, and I'd check out Wonka too. I'm kind of iffy about it, but maybe Timothy Chalamet might do it some justice. So who knows?
All right. Solid top 3 left of the year. John, what about you? How about a top 3 from you too?
Top 3. Okay, so probably in no particular order. I will go Wonka for sure. Just because.
Really, you guys are really excited for Wonka?
Yeah, I don't know.
Classic.
I bought the 4K for the Willy Wonka, the one with
Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder, yeah, and I think it's still in the packaging. That's something I wanted to do on the podcast at some point.
Have you seen it?
A long time. Yeah, it's probably been like it's 15 years at least, or maybe more. Like I was a kid.
I've seen it many times. Nave, you've seen it? Okay,
many times. Too many times to count.
So you should just watch it. Yeah,
I'm sure if I watched it, I would like every time it's like this every scene, I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember all that. But like it's just it's just one of those iconic movies I need to revisit.
From the director of the Paddington movies. So
is it really?
Yeah, Paul King. Okay,
I think
Wonka. All right.
I'm trying to think because I don't know. I haven't really done a lot of research into what's coming out, but the one that I am really excited for is, of course, Migration from Mike White.
Oh, movie I didn't even mention. Okay.
Yeah, Migration, December 22nd.
It's a joke answer, but it's fair enough.
It is not a joke answer. I think this movie has the genuine possibility of at least being in my top 20. It's a movie about ducks migrating and written by Mike White, the writer of School of Rock and The White Lotus. So I think it's gonna be a very fun movie.
All right, you're gonna have to let me know how it is.
How are you, Spencer?
You're gonna obviously
see
it before me. You're gonna see it before me, so I guarantee, because you have AMC Plus, so you can go and see all these movies basically for free. A-list, whatever. So you're gonna see it, and then basically say like if it's worth going to see in theaters, or I can just wait 4 weeks for it to come out on Peacock.
Here's the thing. I just booked a trip. It comes out December 22nd. I will be in Maine during this time. We can go see it together. We can go see ducks. Nate can come down. We'll have a Christmas brunch, and we'll go see Migration together. I don't see any other choice. Yeah.
Okay, so Migration and Wonka, 2 movies that don't expect to be in your top 3, but they are. All right, and your third and final pick for your most anticipated for the rest of the year.
I guess the Emma Stone movie. I'm definitely going to see that. Yeah, it looks kind of weird, kind of different, which isn't necessarily something John enjoys, but I'll see anything Emma Stone is in, so probably that.
All right.
Yeah.
My quick top 3 would be The Boy and the Heron, which is the Studio Ghibli movie that is coming out in a couple of weeks. Most likely we'll cover it on the next podcast since it'll be in theaters. I would put Poor Things as my number 2. Yeah, let's go Poor Things number 2. And then Bradley Cooper's directorial movie Maestro. That one's going to be on Netflix.
Yep.
He plays the composer that made the music behind West Side Story, I believe, and some other stuff. Ooh. And I hear it's really good. It premiered at some festivals, and I mean, Bradley Cooper is due for an Oscar, so I definitely want to see what's going to happen there. But I mean, the Zack Snyder movie, Rebel Moon, I mean, that could be fun. The Sydney Sweeney romantic comedy movie, Anyone But You. We'll see what happens.
I'll be in there day one. You know that.
And I mean, obviously Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget on Netflix. So we'll definitely be checking out a lot of these movies for the podcast. So let us know what you guys are looking forward to checking out in the next few weeks here as 2023 is wrapping up.
Anyone But You is going to be terrible, right? Like there's no what percentage?
It looks pretty garbage, not going to lie, but we'll see what happens. I don't know.
I just see absolutely zero possibility of this having more than a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. But that's
well,
I don't
it's
know.
directed by Will Gluck, and he made Easy A, which is kind of a fun movie. So maybe he could make another.
Maybe it's the next
one.
Easy A.
All right. I feel like it's a good catch up there with 2023 and movies. But since we are talking about Across the Universe this episode, this was my pick that you guys voted on. We'll talk about that later on. But I want to get a quick consensus or just kind of quick vibe check here of what is your favorite musical of all time? Where do you guys stand on musicals? Because Across the Universe is a wild, trippy, stylistic musical that can be very over the top for a lot of viewers, and not a lot of musicals. Most musicals are over the top, but some can be more subtle. But I just want to get a little vibe check here. What is your all-time favorite musical?
Oh man,
would you consider La La Land a musical?
Yes.
Yes.
I think if there's music and if there's singing and dancing in any capacity throughout the film, then you could call it.
I have a guess of what John's could be, and I have a guess of what Nate's could be.
I'm trying to think about.
I think I have a guess of what Spencer's
I don't want to spoil it. Okay, let's do the guesses after the reveal because I don't want to influence the answer.
Oh man,
I think I have my answer.
Yeah, start with you. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna go with La La Land. Like no musical. I haven't listened to the entire soundtrack of a musical before until La La Land, and it still holds up. Just every song is iconic. I feel like if Spencer was to play one right now, I could probably tell you what the name of it was or what part of the movie it was from. And I won't forget the first time watching it, just how I felt as the credits came in and as they rolled out with Ryan Gosling playing the piano. It felt like a classic Hollywood movie. So I would go with La La Land.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many good choices. La La Land is a great pick. That's probably in my top 5 at least.
John, you're up next.
I'm gonna go with a movie that, like, I actually cried during times, and I know that this movie, I don't know if Nate's seen it, but I know Spencer didn't like it that much. It's 2017's The Greatest Showman. It's such a fun movie. I was listening to that soundtrack on repeat consistently.
Whew.
Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson. I mean, there's so many tracks in that movie that are still popular today. Like, it's just, if you can just not think of how the real man treated animals and how everybody thought that they should have like showed that in the movie and been genuine about it, it doesn't matter. It's a musical about a fucking man who had a circus. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So
passion behind that answer.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a really fun movie. I don't know if it's the best musical per se.
I'm so glad
I
This Is
enjoyed it a
Me
lot.
didn't win the Oscar that year. I was so happy.
What did it
I'm the
lose
only
to?
one that picked Remember Me.
Oh, see, I hadn't seen Coco until after I made my list, and I loved Coco. So I totally understand why that song won, because it was really good too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But what about
All right, Mr. Duck? Is it Ducks on Ice? Is that your musical? Is that a thing?
I don't know. This might be kind of a stupid answer. Actually, no, it's not a stupid answer. But
There's
this
no
is the
stupid
movie
answers.
that I remember
What
I
about
grew
my
up
answer?
watching because we had it on our iPod Classic.
Yep.
So I used to watch it on like trips to like the ski mountains or whatever, or I don't know, school trips. And it was Chicago. I've seen Chicago so many times, and I just loved it. I don't know, just the performances were always great. The music was always entertaining. So I've seen it the most out of any other musical. That and maybe Grease. So and I don't think Grease is my favorite. One that I do want to watch again is Umbrellas of Cherbourg. That'd be great.
I forgot about that.
Umbrellas of
Oh
Cherbourg.
man, that
The
gives
movie that
La La Land a
influenced
run
La La
for its
Land.
money because it's a legit musical where dialogue is singing. Like,
What is
There's
this?
other musicals. I mean, Singing in the Rain is another great one.
Mamma Mia is a good.
hey,
I
John,
mean,
you'd like that one at the top.
Pinocchio.
Which one?
No,
Once.
it's in. No, it's between Into the Woods and Dear Evan Hansen. Oh, sorry.
I watched this recently.
Wow,
Jackson
okay.
Musical. It's I did not like it. It's from the director of Borat, but yeah.
Does A Star Is Born count as a musical?
Apparently, yeah, it's here.
Because I almost said that, but I'm like, it's more of like a movie that has music in it. It's not like they're not breaking out into song randomly, like they're singing during performances. So,
but there's also song well,
there isn't. It's just like you're watching her on stage. It's kind of like Bohemian Rhapsody. They're not breaking out into song at any particular time unless it's
Star Is Born feels more like almost like a biopic, even though the characters aren't real.
Yeah.
But even though it's the fourth iteration of the story.
There's a lot of movies that have music but aren't technically musicals, like Coda. I guess you can make the argument, but again, it's like she's singing in class. She's not singing in the middle of the hallway with everyone having like choreographed dancing. So
right.
I thought Spencer's was gonna be I thought it was gonna be Sing Street. For some reason.
The second he said his old iPod, I was like, oh, it's definitely Chicago.
I've
heard this story
the most.
Too many times. Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so that's kind of where we stand on musicals before we talk about Across the Universe. But do you want to do new releases first, or do you want to just get into first time watches?
I do have new releases on here first, but we can do it however you want to do it.
We can do some new releases first. How about that?
Let's do it. I should actually have popcorn made at some point because I do have a popcorn maker. But it's like one of those that uses air, and whenever you have the popcorn, it just shoots it all over.
So Nate,
okay, just fuck John. It's okay. You can cut me out. It's all good. I'm not offended. I get it.
I thought it was a mistake, and then Spencer just goes, "Okay, so Nate."
No, it's not. I do that. I do that all the time on the other pod. It's too much power. Too much power. I get it.
What do we got here? Ooh.
Yeah.
Right. Ooh.
So do you guys Nate, do you know who these guys are? Like, have you watched SNL? I know you're an SNL guy. I've seen you watch sketches.
Have you watched TikTok or Instagram Reels?
No.
Nope. I knew
these guys are
the only person I know in this movie was Conan.
Oh, wow.
So for the audio listeners, the first movie that we're going to be talking about here is Please Don't Destroy the Treasure of Foggy Mountain.
Yeah, these guys have blown up over the last couple of years. I mean, they've had some hilarious bits on TikTok. They have some really funny shorts that they did on YouTube as well. But finally coming out with a movie of their own, where they're essentially themselves, but in a fake story, getting some treasure on a mountain. So, I don't know if I was anticipated this movie. Like, was I anticipating this movie? Maybe not, but I just love these guys. And whenever their shorts are playing on SNL, I just want to see more of that and not the rest of the show. So I was excited to see this movie.
They definitely came and helped SNL drastically. Like what it needed that little like, comedic shorts. Because the biggest comparison with these guys, with the Please Don't Destroy group, the biggest comparison is with The Lonely Island, with Andy Samberg and those guys, because when they were on SNL, they made those digital shorts and the music videos that they always did that are going to be classics in pop culture, and they kind of set the tone and set the scene of like what you could do with like digital shorts and SNL. And these guys have kind of come in and filled that void for millennials, essentially. Like they're that
Pretty
voice
much.
on SNL that's very funny, very current, very
self-deprecating. Like they're always making fun of themselves. It's
and like back in COVID, I think they blew up, and this was like during COVID. I think John was even like sending me these like their Instagram, TikTok reels of the little sketches and stuff that were just so creative and clever. And it's just no wonder they got the job at SNL. And so when I heard that they were making a movie and Judd Apatow was going to produce it, I was like, okay, I mean, fair enough. This is like the same path that the Lonely Island went in with the Hot Rod and their other movies that they made. And the biggest compliment that I can give this movie, Please Don't Destroy The Treasure of Foggy Mountain, is that this movie is like the Hot Rod for millennials. It's the same type of humor, the same type of jokes, the same like stupid generic plot line that is so over the top and ridiculous. But what works is the chemistry of the group. And it's just it somehow ends up being one of the funniest movies of the year for sure.
Yeah, it's not trying to be the best movie of the by any means. I mean, they stick to their guns. They stick to what they know. Like the comedy that these guys do is just like it feels so natural the way that they play off each other. It's just hysterical. It's like just quick-witted, dry, like blink and you miss it type comedy. And I just love it. I think that like just the stuff with Conan O'Brien and Ben, like where he's in the store, he's like playing catch with the other guy, but not Ben.
Right. Yep.
It's just there's so many moments, and like there's some stupid moments in this movie too. They're just like swing and a miss, but I think the vast majority of the jokes were, I mean, they got me at least because it's my type of comedy.
I mean, there's a joke fired at you every 30 seconds. Not all of them do land, but some when they do, I was laughing so hard. But Nate, what'd you think of this movie?
I think I might have said it to Spencer soon after I watched it, but funniest movie of the year. I don't think anything's gonna beat it, just in how gut-wrenchingly funny. Like I was laughing more than I was just sitting there paying attention, just because the relationship between Conan and Ben when he's talking about the hair salon for boys. And then Conan's like, yeah, I like that. And then he immediately is like, don't ever tell anyone that.
Yeah.
And just, their whole relationship and the one guy who drinks the Trulies or whatever, flying in a bodysuit, and he's just sitting there reveling in his life. And it was just a fun little adventure movie. I could have done without the whole, there's a cult thing.
Religious cult stuff. Yeah.
I was
was that just a reason to get Bowen Yang into the movie? Like, because they have it's like they're trying to push Bowen Yang so hard, and I just I don't
agree.
He was almost
love him.
100% agree with you. Yeah, no, he's popping up in all these movies recently, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's just he's too. It's like with Awkwafina sometimes. It's just
he's
like
a less funny Ken Jeong.
Yeah, that's
even Ken Jeong suffered with him too. It's just
but like,
popped up in too many things.
It did have moments though, like when he had the giant head on, and he's like, "Oh, I'm proud to welcome this Chinese family." He's like, "All right, you got to take the helmet off. You obviously can't see us."
And there was a great moment too, where I think it was John. He hides the artifact under the stool of where like the guy sits. And they're like, "Why the fuck would you put it there? Like that's where he sits all day long. Like we're never gonna get that back." And the guy walks in, "Hey, I found your artifact." It's like, God damn it! Like I was. I mean, it did set up for a great joke there. But yeah, I mean, the movie does have the most like ridiculous plot lines that just go on and on and on. But like what the center of the movie is their friendship, and when they get to riff off each other is when I was laughing the most. Like there's one gag with I think it was a hawk, and like it follows him. And it just
like winks at him.
Yeah, it winks at them, and they climb the mountain. They're like freaking out. They're like, why doesn't it just fly? Like it's just
it walks up the mountain.
Yeah.
Did anyone tell it that it could fly?
Like, it attacks them on the flight down to the store. Yeah, it's just.
But ridiculous. He comes back. Like
but like I feel like there's been a void of these like late night goofy 90-minute comedy movies that are actually hilarious. There hasn't been a ton of those recently. So when this came along and this was on Peacock, I mean you could easily just put this on late at night and just have a lot of belly laughs, and it's worth it in my opinion. So it was just a fun movie that was so lighthearted, and it throws a lot at you, but regardless it was just ridiculous. And
there was a sequence at the beginning that probably got the biggest laugh out of me, and it was the whole flashback of him being a magician.
No.
Oh my god, yeah.
They just keep revealing stuff like
his penis
and
is
that's
out.
not the worst thing that could happen. And then it just the way that they told it, and they would say something and then cut to like a slow-mo shot of a reaction. I was like, they're just playing this up, and it's working because I laughed almost to tears when the final one happened, and I was like, oh, no way they put that in there.
Martin's drunk alter ego, whenever he gets thrown to Truly, like they warn about him throughout the whole movie, and then finally he gets engaged. It's a slow-mo shot of them like grabbing a Truly and just like tossing it up to him on like the balcony. I just thought of John throughout that whole sequence. Yeah, he just like chugs it, puts the glasses on, and just has a completely different accent. It's like a southern like Elvis voice. Like,
you put enough Trulies in me, and who knows what can happen.
Right.
He has superpowers. He's beating up everyone. Yeah. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, it was just a dumb, fun movie that I think is it. I don't know. I mean, we didn't need a movie of this, but I'm glad we did.
So I would buy this if it came out on physical media. I'm just saying that. Like, if it was a $9.99 type of purchase, I'd be like, yeah, I want that.
It is just one of those movies. Like, you could put this on anytime, and you're probably gonna enjoy yourself. Like, if you're you either want something on in the background or you just want to laugh, like, this is just an effortless comedy to watch. It's not perfect, but like there's so much fun to be had with honestly anything that these guys do. I think that they're just some of the most hysterical people working in comedy right now. Like, have you guys seen the oh my god, the bit where they're like kid comedians on SNL? It's like,
I don't think so.
Oh,
I've never seen them before this movie.
Oh, Nate, you should definitely watch some of their sketches. If you like this movie and laughed, you're gonna get a huge kick out of their sketches.
Yeah.
And I even like the it was narrated by John Goodman, and that even says it at one point. He's like, by the way, I'm John Goodman from The Big Lebowski and many other movies.
That's a bunch of other shit. All right, that's it.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll go first on my ranking. I think I initially gave it a 3 out of 5 just because I'm like, I liked it. It's not like a great movie or anything, but the more I think about it, I could probably get up to like a 3.5. It's just a solid comedy that we don't get a lot of, and obviously it doesn't need to be groundbreaking. It doesn't need to be the best movie of all time, but it just needs to make you laugh, and I think this movie definitely succeeded in that job. So I'd go up to a 3.5 just because of how consistently I was laughing, and just even thinking back, I'm like, yeah, that was a great time, and I would easily watch it again late at night. And yeah, so 3.5 out of 5. It's a solid, fun watch.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go quite that high. I think there were just some plot elements that were a little distracting for me. Like, I really didn't like John's storyline with that park ranger girl. I just thought that was so distracting and not funny at all. But other than that storyline, I really did enjoy this movie and was laughing. I mean, a lot when the three of them are together. It's just like, it's comedy gold. So I went 3 out of 5.
Okay, yeah. So I initially gave it.
Yeah.
Nate.
I guess I liked it a little bit more than you guys. I thought it was funny all the way around. I did think that storyline with the park rangers was just kind of but she did say something really funny when she was talking about how she's not going to have sex with him because she doesn't even know him. It was one of those things where no one asked, but she just keeps talking, and I just laughed because she just puts so much into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I gave it a 4 out of 5. I know it's stupid. It's got really bad CGI when they're flying and stuff like that. It's obvious, but it's just the kind of stupid fun that just kind of makes me smile and just kind of makes me glad that these guys did it and they continue to succeed. And who knows? I wouldn't mind seeing like maybe like a series of these types of movies with these guys. Maybe another one.
If they did
like another one where they're on a ship and they have to find buried treasure or something.
Or they go to the North Pole to meet Santa.
Exactly. And I think they're all funny in different ways.
Yeah,
and just the way that they go together just works.
I could see them having a series like I Think You Should Leave, like 15-minute kind of 15-20-minute short episodes or something, where they just do like different stuff. Maybe it's around 30 Rock, like the SNL studio, or like whatever. Like you could put them in any situation, it would probably be funny. So, and I honestly I could see that happening. Like I could definitely, especially on Peacock, that's NBC, that's SNL. Like they will probably do that because these guys are probably the only reason people are watching SNL right now because that cast is horrendous. It's not good.
I'll have to look
Like,
at
it's
it. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Are they in any of the other sketches, or is it just like their shorts?
They're not. They don't pop. Even I'm kind of surprised they haven't like cameoed at all. Like the cast is like ever since they got rid of
Higgins from the Jimmy Fallon show.
Yeah, it's his kid.
Yeah, John's his kid. Yeah,
the resemblance is uncanny too. Like they do look very similar.
And I think another has a dad in the industry. So I mean, they are technically nepo babies, but they're funny. So
hey, doesn't matter. It's in the family. I'll take it.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's on Peacock. So if you have a Peacock subscription, I definitely would recommend checking this one out late at night. Get some belly laughs out of it. You're not going to watch a great movie, but you are going to watch a funny one. So
this movie makes me want a smoochie.
Okay, perfect.
Do you remember Smoochies?
Yes, his dumb annoying girlfriend.
It's the little treat that they're
it's
like
made of like
over.
Dates and like dirt. Yeah,
right. Admit that they're good. Admit that you need
smoochies.
Okay, they're fine. There you go.
I'm sure they're not bad if you're starving.
So that was Please Don't Destroy, The Treasure of Foggy Mountain. John, what is the next new release here? Napoleon. Oh boy. Here we go.
Napoleon is the next movie. Am I the only one to have gone to the theater to see anything other than Please Don't Destroy? You guys had 2 weeks and didn't go to the theater?
I watched a Netflix movie called Rustin, which has some Oscar consideration for Coleman Domingo, who is in Euphoria. He's like the AA guy. He's the AA guy for Rue. So I watched that movie, Rustin. I just don't have a lot of things to say about it. It was very TV movie-esque, and he gave a great performance. So, but no, I was in Finland for the last week, so I did not go to the theater and see anything.
Silly of me.
Oh boy! But I am excited. I am excited to hear your thoughts on Napoleon. I know that it's a Ridley Scott 3-hour epic that's in theaters right now, and that is coming out on Apple TV probably by the end of the year. So I'm sure I'll watch it on Apple TV Plus when it does get released, and it might even be a 4-hour Ridley Scott director's cut because he likes to do that. So. But yeah,
this this is one of those movies. That's very interesting. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in the theater this past week. I saw Napoleon, I saw Hunger Games, I saw The Marvels, which we don't need to talk about. But yeah, I think that just Ridley Scott, man, he takes on some big movies. Sometimes he hits, sometimes he misses. This one was just so interesting because I think Napoleon is just such a figure that you don't know a lot about, but like he has kind of spanned throughout pop culture over the centuries. He's just such an interesting person to learn about. And this movie does kind of span through like his relationships and like the various big battles that he's won. And it really was just like kind of a fascinating exploration. Joaquin Phoenix is like one of the most method actors of today. I think like you can see, just look at Joker, look at this movie, look at, I don't know what he's done. So many movies where he takes that role and just runs away with it. And this is absolutely no exception. He's like one of those A-list actors where I feel like I don't see Joaquin Phoenix anymore. And this is one of those movies. The battle sequences in this movie are insane. Like they might be a little bit, it's not.
So the big, what is it? Criticism that I've heard of this movie so far is that, because you mentioned Joaquin Phoenix and that he disappears into the role and you don't really see him that much.
I feel like I don't. Yeah.
Apparently, he just does a normal American accent. And he's playing Napoleon, and people were like, threw some people off. So that was interesting, and I've heard that the movie does have some very cringy lines, like lines of dialogue.
I don't know if I picked up on that. I understand the criticism where He's not giving a French accent, but also like if you want a French accent, just make it a French language movie. Like I'm not. It's clearly for American audiences. I'm not. That doesn't bother me
And
as much.
remember Ridley Scott with the Last
Gods and
Duel,
Kings.
and you had
Oh,
like those
yeah.
like the fake French accents that they did in that movie.
It's
Did they have like fake over the top French accents in that movie,
don't-
or am I just daydreaming? I feel like Matt Damon was like over the top
Did
with
Ben
his
Affleck have
accent.
some weird accent too? I don't
Could
remember.
be. And then obviously with the House of Gucci with the crazy Italian accents that was just insufferable. So like maybe he was like, you know what, I'm not gonna go back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a really cool exploration of this character because I don't know. It makes you conflicted with whether to like him or not. He's in some weird relationships. He's not the nicest guy. Obviously, he's a freaking almost a dictator at times. But they're like what he's known for is essentially like how much of an expert he was on the battlefield, and those are the best sequences of the movie where you kind of just see the genius on the battlefield.
I have
But
a
again,
question.
yeah, it's like 3 hours long, so there's a lot of other stuff you have to get through throughout this movie as well.
Is this a real line of dialogue in the movie?
Because you think you're so great because you have boats.
Okay. I laughed out loud at that moment because you're right. Okay.
Is that a real line
There
in
are
that
some
movie?
moments. It's because they're the French and the English are one of the biggest adversaries at this time because they have boats. And I fucking laughed so hard at that. Nobody else did. I did though, because I was like, "Are you fucking
Well, I
kidding
hear
me?"
it's funny. Like I hear the movie's actually funny, and just like I heard he like climbs
not
under the
wrong.
table and like crawls at one point, and like he's
Dude,
saying
there's
like destiny brought me this lamb chop. And it just like it, or yeah, I don't know. And like there's like smash cuts in the movie. Like he says one thing and then just like bam, it's like a smash cut of him like destroying like a pyramid or something. I don't know. But like,
there is a moment where they're like literally launching catapults at the pyramids of Giza.
right, yeah. And
Like I don't know if that really happened, but I was like, did that happen? There's no way that happened, right? I
well,
mean,
Ridley Scott's on a press tour, basically just calling historians or like people who like research this stuff. He's just calling them like fucking losers and just tell them to get a life if they're like calling them out on inaccuracies. He says like, I don't care. It's not cinematic, so fuck you.
exactly. It's very cinematic to launch a catapult at the pyramids. So I think it's fun. I think you got to watch it. I mean, for the performance alone, does he get a nomination? I don't know. You tell me, Spencer. You know all the chatter.
I don't think so. No, I don't think this is gonna get much. There was talk maybe like costumes or production design.
Oh, damn, that's
We'll see about Vanessa Kirby. I heard that she gives a great performance in the supporting role, but I just haven't seen it, so I'm only going off of other people's word of mouth.
I mean, once it's on Apple TV, I'm sure you'll watch it. But Vanessa Kirby is also really good in the movie. She probably gives more of an emotional performance, which I don't know. She's also great. So it's a long time in the theater.
You think you're so great because you have boats.
Yeah.
He's not wrong though. He's really
He's
not.
not.
Like,
Yeah.
because boats became a huge play in it. Like, how do you think the Americans won in the Revolutionary War? The French came over with their boats.
But
And saved
he's
us,
delivering
basically.
that line and like huffing off like a fucking child, which I'm sure Ridley Scott is intentionally doing. So it's just funny. It's just hilarious
Because he was a drama queen.
of
And
course.
he's like
You're
one of
so
the
great
only
'cause you have boats.
Yep. Napoleon. Yeah, it's a good movie. Not the best movie, but I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. That was really good.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby. Some good war sequences, a little marital drama as well, Nate. It's in there. I think it's worth
if
checking
I
out.
could get to the theater, I would have seen it by now.
Yeah,
because
no,
I love
absolutely.
history movies like this, and he's one of the only people that you could ever truly call like an emperor. Not many people can be called that, and he was.
How was the pacing? Because it is like 2 hours and 40 minutes.
I think you feel it a little bit, but there is so much story in here that I was invested enough to just keep going. Like, it didn't bother me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool. All right,
Cool.
Napoleon.
Napoleon.
It'll be on Apple TV Plus probably in the next month or so. So I'm gonna be checking it out then, most likely.
Yeah. The question is, will you be checking out this next film, The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? Wow, everybody just disappeared. It's just John now. Okay. Here to talk about, I guess, the prequel to The Hunger Games. This is directed by the same guy who did Catching Fire. He did Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, Red Sparrow, I Am Legend. I was actually pretty excited for this movie, mainly because I thought it was about the first Hunger Games. It's not. It actually wasn't about that, and that's what I've been telling everybody that I've recommended go see this movie because it's the first Hunger Games. That's so cool. Hunter Schafer's in it from Euphoria. That's so exciting. It also has Rachel Ziegler, who was in Shazam.
It's
Fury of the Gods.
It's Rachel Zegler.
Oh, I spelled it wrong. Either way, I was pretty psyched for this movie. It wasn't what I expected. It ended up being a lot more sing-songy than I would have thought, almost a musical at times. It still has like the brutalness of the Hunger Games. You still get a Hunger Games, but it's not what I would have expected. So I was a little let down with it. It's like 2 hours and 37 minutes. Like, it is a long movie.
Holy shit. So with Napoleon and the Hunger Games, you spent almost 6 hours in the movie theaters.
This is what
Spending
stemmed our
your
argument
time.
we had the other night, dude, where I was like, yeah, I spent 6 hours in the theater. Like, you could be spending time watching 1923. This was the whole thing.
No.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'll just rewatch Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
that's fine. If you told me you were doing that, I would have been totally okay with that. But I think this movie kind of overstays its welcome a little bit. Like, the first half, you get kind of a love story, then you get the Hunger Games, and then the third act, you get an entire origin story for General Snow, or whatever his name is. Which I think the movie should have just focused on one of those things, and it might have been a better story overall. So I was a little let down with it, but I did really enjoy it because I like the world building of the Hunger Games. But yeah, I think the biggest miss was Rachel Zegler's character. You don't learn a lot about her, and so much of the movie does surround that character. It should have done more character building with her, or focus more on the guy who is like young General Snow or whatever. So I think I went 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5. So it's all right.
3.5 out of 5 is a really good grade. That's like a B plus, A minus.
For me, it's
Plus?
more like B, maybe a B minus.
It's a solid fresh though. 3.5. You're kind of complaining about it. I don't know. Like, Nate, like, out of his review, do you think that you'd go and check this out?
Yes, because it's a different Hunger Games. It's new characters, but if it sounds like there's a bunch of different, not necessarily plot lines going all together, but when stuff jumps from this character to the origin of this character and then introducing these new characters, it's like,
yeah,
come on, you got to do it in a better way.
There were like 3 different movies here. If I'm making like,
so what I've heard from this movie is that like the first 2 acts are really solid and great, and then the third act is like, wait, what's going on here? And then it just feels like Rush or something. And then it's like, honestly, the third act could have been like a sequel, but like they didn't want to do that, like part 1, part 2 bullshit. But that's what I've heard, like, as in like the structure was like very detached in the third act. So,
right. That's exactly how I felt.
It got spoiled for me, so that's why I didn't go.
I was wondering what got spoiled because I was like, what could have deterred him
I'll
so
talk
much?
about it off podcasts. But,
okay.
It just sometimes we follow some accounts on our Instagram. Follow us at ThoseMovieDudes. But we follow some accounts that just post like full reviews and spoilers like in their like images. I'm like, how do you even get that image, first of all? And like, why would you lead with that? Anyway, so I don't know. So talk about it off podcast, but I'll check it out when it comes on Peacock.
If it was genuinely about the first Hunger Games, I find that to be more interesting than like, oh, this is the 8th Hunger Games or whatever it was.
So what's interesting is they're going into the 10th Hunger Games. They're basically talking about, oh, should we get rid of it? It's not getting enough publicity. People aren't watching it. And then Snow or whatever, Tim Blythe's character, it came up with all the ideas to like, oh, let's send them drones, let's sponsor them. Then people are gonna, let's have a backstory so people actually emphasize with these characters and all that. So
they're like invested in it. So
yeah, he's like yeah, it's his idea of what makes people love the Hunger Games and want to watch it. So it is his origin story, but you get so detached and distracted by Rachel Zegler's strange sing-songy like musical performance where you don't learn anything about her, but he's so obsessed with her throughout the movie. So it's like it's just a weird balance. And also Hunter Schafer's there for some reason.
She's from is Rachel Zegler from she was from District 12. Okay. I wasn't sure which one she was from.
Yeah. But, she's from District 12. So yeah, Peter Dinklage is in the movie. What's her name?
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis is basically playing her character from Suicide Squad. She's insane. Like she's really good at playing just like a psycho, crazy, evil person. So yeah, I don't know. It wasn't what I wanted it to be, but I did have a lot of fun with it. I could understand why it does seem like
wait, how is Peter Dinklage?
He was good. Yeah.
He's Peter Dinklage.
He never
comes up short.
He's actually the one who created the Hunger Games in this franchise. So,
spoiler.
Yeah. But yeah, 3.5 out of 5. That is the Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Very long title.
Yeah, sometimes that works against you, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I think that does it for new releases. I guess we could move on to first time watches.
First time watches, are you watching with us? We're those movie dudes, and we about to discuss another movie that we've never seen. So grab some popcorn and pull up a seat.
Ooh. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Across the universe, hey Jude.
Lucy in the sky with diamonds.
I was waiting for them to use that song in the movie, and I was like, what context are they going to be able to use this song and make it make sense? It was the end credits.
Yep.
So I was like, there it is.
Yep.
That song is just too weird. Like they put some weird ones in the movie. I'm like, oh, they made this work. There's no way to make that song work. I'm sorry. It just isn't. Yeah.
Well, they could have, like the first time they did drugs, they could have had her like.
Yeah, what did they end up using though? Like it was something that still worked. I don't know.
It was an LSD drink.
So like Sgt. Pepper's or something. I don't know.
Well, Across the Universe, this is our first time watch of this week. This is my pick, Ducky's pick, and this was actually the bottom of the picks that I wanted to win. I mean, this is probably the third pick that I wanted because I think I chose Sin City, Shithouse, and Across the Universe, and then both you.
This was number
John
3 for you.
And
Wow.
Nate picked Across the Universe back to back. It's like, okay, that guarantees the win. So you guys definitely wanted to watch Across the Universe. I went to your Letterboxd watch lists and realized that this was on both of your lists. Nate apparently had watched it before, but it's been so long that he didn't remember it.
I don't think I saw it all.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And Johnny, I had never seen it before, and this is one that I used to watch all the time, had it on DVD, so I would watch it again and again, and it's been a very long time since I've seen it, so I definitely wanted to see what you guys thought of this movie, so that is why I picked it, although I probably would have picked Sin City, and I watched Shithouse on the plane, so...
so you still made it happen.
Regardless, we all ended up watching Across the Universe, so... I'm going to start with Nate because this is kind of like a soft rewatch for him. So, Nate, what did you think of this Beatles musical Across the Universe?
So I really appreciate what they were doing as far as taking the Beatles songs and creating a story out of it. But I think as far as like a love story, it fell a little bit flat just because these characters just are from completely different worlds, and I don't think they did enough to like show them falling in love type of thing. It almost just happened to be circumstance. Like, oh, I met her brother. Oh, now we're just gonna date. Um, but I will say like the final 15 minutes of the movie when Hey Jude starts playing, that's the only song in the whole movie that I think could beat out the original Hey Jude. And that's a classic. I love the original. But this one just feels more emotionally driven, and at the pace and the sound of it just adds more emotion to it, whereas the original one, it's a little more upbeat with the Beatles sound, but this one with Joe Anderson and them singing, it was just it packed more of a punch. And when it started playing, I recognized it because that was one of the parts that I remembered from when I had seen it long ago, was Jude in a bar. And I'm like, oh, that means it's coming. And then I heard the piano start and I was like, yes, this is what I was waiting for. And I got goosebumps just because the words just matched the situation perfectly. And the way it was kind of goofy how they introduced all the people around into song, but it just worked. Like, he's packing up and then his mom comes in and kind of sings that little melody to it. And I just thought that 15 minutes at the end was like flawless, but everything else up to it almost felt convoluted. Like, they're just throwing on style upon national problems in Vietnam and stuff. I was like, hold your horses. Like, we're moving a little fast, but I appreciated what they were trying to do for sure.
Okay. So, John, this being your first time watch, the reason we have this movie to watch on this podcast. Yeah. So, what did you think of Across the Universe?
Yeah, I totally get where Nate's coming from. I think that when you make a movie like this, you are really putting yourself in a box. It's like, okay, we're going to make a movie that's about the 60s, the Vietnam War. It's going to be about racism in the 60s in America, and we're going to have a love story, and we're going to put all the Beatles songs into it and make it make sense. That's a lot. That's a big ask.
It's a tall order. Yeah.
It's a tall order. I think that for the most part, what they excelled at the most for me, it's like making me kind of see the vision that the Beatles had and like what they were inspired by to write all these songs. Like, they did a lot of drugs. They did a lot of LSD. Like, and I think that like I now have a better understanding for, Let It Be, Hey Jude, like literally just even like I'm the Walrus or whatever, like so many of their songs, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense now, because so many of their songs, the lyrics are just nonsense almost. But now, like, there's like genuine context between what they were saying and what was going on during that time. So that was my biggest takeaway. The love story was good. I mean, that's why I wanted to watch the movie. Like, oh, Across the Universe, Beatles songs, Evan Rachel Wood, that's great. That was the weakest part of the movie. It wasn't bad, but like
Jim Sturgis with his gross mullet. Yeah.
It was very 60s. Like,
greasy Liverpool
mullet. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very dirty.
All right. So it sounds like we're kind of in the same boat here. Because this rewatch was a little tough for me. I was struggling.
When's the last time you saw this?
Probably 2009, 8.
Oh, wow.
I had it on DVD. So I used to watch it quite a bit. But I've seen it a good amount of times. But yeah, watching this again, I mean, like, I'll kind of spoil a little bit of my Letterboxd review. But this is the only way I could possibly describe my feeling of this movie was Oh my god, just shut the fuck up, please.
Was that recently? Was that 2009, Spencer?
No, this was the most recent watch. Because that's how I felt while watching this movie again. Because it's just like, I'm like, oh my god, again and again. Because the movie is, I think, a collection of some good sequences. So there's some good moments, some good montages, some good musical numbers. But all together, watching it from start to finish, the through line, I just was exhausted. I was annoyed. I just wanted it to end. It just kept going and going for me. Like the visual representation, it was like it was cool, but I'm like, I've seen this before, and like I was reminded, I'm like, oh yeah, this movie is just kind of obnoxious, but regardless, it is cool if you've never seen it before. I think it's just because I've seen it so many times. So just like I get like this popping up on YouTube, like as like some like watching scenes and be like, oh yeah, that's cool. I should definitely watch it again, and then realizing like, oh, I actually don't need to sit down and watch this from start to finish because like the Let It Be sequence I think is fantastic. The whole like the Detroit riots, the funeral with like the brother who is playing the guitar, and he moves down to New York, and the guy meets Jim Sturgis on the street. I mean, like that whole sequence I thought was phenomenal, and the song Let It Be was great too. So I mean, like I like that moment a lot, and there's some other moments that are great, but just overall, like you even mentioned the third act and like the rooftop sequence, that I like that stuff too. But I just was like struggling, and it's so long. Oh my god, it's 2 hours.
About 25 minutes too long.
Yeah, like, I felt it too. So I struggled watching this again, but I was hoping to hear maybe you guys either loved it or you guys were kind of like in the same boat, and it sounds like maybe you definitely appreciated it and had fun because you hadn't seen it before or it's been a while. But yeah, I did not enjoy this.
Yeah, there was definitely some stuff that didn't have any purpose being in this movie. Like there's one 5-6 minute sequence of them in this pop-up circus tent.
I almost turned it off at that point.
Yeah, it looked like a Spy Kids movie, like the way they like, just everything was different elements put on the screen.
99 Cent, Danny DeVito. Yeah,
fucking weird, dude. Actually, there's two people who pop up in this movie. Bono, for some reason.
Salma
who is the lead in the only other movie this person has directed of note.
Frida.
Was it? It's called
Frida Kahlo.
Frida, yeah. That sequence was ridiculous. Like, and I can justify it by like, oh, psychedelic, the 60s. Like that is actively what these people are going through psychologically. Sure. So like it certainly like portrays that, but
it's
so unnecessary. Like, it's like, what the fuck is happening? Like
and there's some like underwater sequences with these like
they're like naked and stuff randomly,
or like floating on the top of the surface, and it's just like, what are we doing here? And it's going on for so long. But
those blue people, the blue creatures with like the disc and then like thin head, they were like Nate said, kind of like the thumb people from Spy Kids. It was just
it's like I understand what they're trying to convey. Like, oh yeah, these people are on drugs. This is what they're seeing. Well, guess what? We're not on drugs.
Yeah,
not
watching this movie on drugs probably is a great time.
I was tripping on LSD, but
yeah.
But like when Revolution started playing, and it was in the middle of the part where she's like fighting for this revolution, and then he storms in, and he's like, you know, this song is basically like, there's gonna be a revolution, but we're all trying our best. It doesn't have to necessarily be a revolution. We're all trying to save the world. But the thing that saved it for me was definitely that last 15 minutes, because it felt like a cohesive, nice love story coming to a solid conclusion.
It brings you back to the reason you watched the movie to begin with, which was, oh, this is a love story. Because that's not what the movie ends up being about. It's like, we're force feeding you the 60s and the Beatles, because that's kind of what the movie is. Yeah. And then you have like a pretty generic love story to boot.
But like, Hey Jude gave me chills all over my body.
Yeah,
I was
and
just like,
that's a great sequence too.
Yeah,
for sure. But
you're waiting for that scene because his name is Jude. I'm like, all right, it's got to happen at some point, right? Like,
and it's gonna have to sting it. End.
Out of curiosity, I don't even know what this had, but it has a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That tracks.
Psychedelic musical numbers can't mask across the universe's cliched love story and thinly written characters. For sure. Yeah, that's
that sounds about right.
82% audience.
That.
Yeah, because it's like Moulin Rouge or these like big musical spectacles. It is fun to watch, and if you are a fan of the Beatles, it's definitely one of like the most entertaining Beatles type movies. It's better than Yesterday's. I haven't seen Hard Day's Night. Nate, you've
I haven't seen
the
that
Criterion
either.
movie.
That's literally the Beatles starring in a movie. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
And
it's okay.
Peter Jackson has like a 3-hour Disney Plus documentary that I hear is fantastic, but maybe I'm just not the biggest Beatles fan overall. I like them. I appreciate them. I really do enjoy listening to them every now and then when they pop up on my Spotify, but I guess maybe I'm just not a diehard to really like dive into the lyrics and the story and everything. But regardless, it's as a musical, like definitely can appreciate the ambition. It just overall, I didn't enjoy watching it. But yeah,
I think it's the movie. What would you give it, Spencer? That sounds like a final review there.
I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 on this rewatch. And then looking back on Letterboxd, my previous rating, it was a 3 out of 5. So I'm not too far off from that initial feeling or rating of that movie. So I just went a little lower because it didn't hold up as much for me on this rewatch. But that's half the reason why I enjoy doing these little segments of the first time watches, because it gives me a chance to revisit older movies that I used to watch all the time and just kind of seeing it holding up to a candle to today's age. And yeah, didn't hold up for me, but oh well.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'd give it one of these?
Rotten. Definitely a rotten.
It is rotten
for me. Yeah. That's what I would go. What about you, John?
Yeah. This being a genuine first time watch, I had expectations for what this would be. It wasn't that, but it ended up being something else. Not necessarily what I wanted, but I do like how it explored the 60s. You did like genuinely feel like you were kind of living in that time a little bit through these sort of rebellious teenagers, 20-year-olds, young 20s. I love the Beatles. I was like singing along during some, or just like humming along during some of the songs because I knew
I was definitely singing along. I was like, yeah, I know all these. This is great.
Yeah, I mean, I knew like 80% of the songs.
Do a little dance.
A little bit, I was in my fleece blanket and my cat, Molly, like up like this. I don't know. I didn't. It took me. I had to pause it a few times and get up and take a break. Like I genuinely did, but I think it actually wasn't for some. This is a whole other story. Whatever. We'll get to that later. My 2 Xboxes turn on at the same time whenever I turn my TV on, and it said I was playing Among Us. Anyway, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
I liked it. I liked the feeling it tries to give you. I think that it accomplishes what it set out to do. Like I said in the beginning of my review, it's a hard hill to climb to put the 60s, a love story, and the entire Beatles discography into a fucking movie. And they did that pretty darn well. So I give them props to that. I think that they did a really good job. Is it the best movie? By no means. Absolutely not. But I think that they accomplished a lot with this movie. So, yeah. Nate?
Hi. Yeah. I'm kind of in the middle. As Spencer was talking about it, I was kind of thinking about it, and I went, why did I give it this grade when it's actually a little bit less? So I'm literally in the middle. I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
I'm glad I was able to watch it. I think it's one of those movies I would much rather just listen to their versions of the Beatles songs and just hear them like that than seeing it put on screen, because some of them just didn't work. Like I'm the Walrus was pretty good. I like Revolution, Hey Jude, and All You Need Is Love. But there was a bunch of other ones that just, the whole LSD sequence, and it didn't cohesively work together. So I would probably just listen to the music on my own time instead of rewatching it because, yeah, I got what it was trying to say. I appreciate it, but I don't really need to check it out again unless I want to watch the last 15-minute sequence because that just gives me goosebumps to how it builds up. And plus that version of Hey Jude I just honestly think it is portrayed better, slower, with a little more melody, a little more heart behind it, less upbeat kind of rock music. It was great. And then the way it ended just did wonders with him going on the rooftop and that stuff. So yeah, 3 out of 5. I wouldn't necessarily say it was rotten, but not something I would seek out to watch again. It did its job. I got what I got out of it. Now I'll just kind of appreciate the other elements instead of a rewatch.
It is one of the few times you see Evan Rachel Wood in any capacity. So I mean, she is a solid actress. I'll give her that. She's a lot better on Westworld, but if that was actually her singing, I thought she did a pretty good job as well.
All right, so a 2.5 out of 5 for me, a 3 out of 5 for Nate, and a 3.5 from John. So we are a little split on Across the Universe, but kind of in the same boat.
We're
I would
all
say
across the board.
Ooh, not bad. So let us know what you think of Across the Universe if you've seen it. Do we recommend you going out and watching this movie on Max? No. There's probably some other stuff you could watch.
Probably not. Yeah, probably.
Just listen to the Beatles, and you're good.
Just like when they
put
said,
on the
like,
White
listen
Album
to the soundtrack, and you
you're
can
good.
just get what you get from this movie and totally enjoy it. So yeah, do that instead. But that was my pick. Kind of maybe regret picking that one. I think there's some other better ones that I could have done. But you guys wanted to watch it, so to be fair, anyways. Well, to be fair, Sin City. I was also thinking, like, wow, Sin City is also a very stylistic, over the top, in your face type of movie too. I'm like, what was I feeling when I picked these two movies? Like,
hey, now we know.
House, which was so fucking charming and just like lovable. So whatever. Anyways, now we're back to John's picks. He has selected 3 movies for us to vote on right now, and that's going to determine what we watch for the next podcast for first time watches. So I'm sure he has them all ready to go.
I just realized this is the I don't know if this is the first time watch for. There's 2 movies. I have not seen any of them, but whatever. Just play the jingle.
Fair enough. What, we're doing the whole thing again? Okay, we can. Oh, that's the release. Sorry.
First time watchers, are you watching with us? We're those movie dudes, and we about to discuss another movie that we've never seen. So grab some popcorn and pull up a seat.
Dude, that is the best fucking jingle. Like that.
It's too good.
Fucking slaps. Like Peter. Oh man, if we had money, I would give it to you. Any money that comes from this podcast should go to Peter. I mean, that's my interpretation. Anyway. So I got 3 movies for you guys to choose from.
Too.
Maybe it should go to Nate just out of necessity.
That was unnecessary.
Okay.
That was very unnecessary.
All right. 3 movies.
Just enough to go see Napoleon in theaters. That's all I want.
Fair enough.
I'd rather you go see Priscilla instead. That one's a lot better.
I already saw it.
Have you seen it?
I saw it.
And?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Didn't you say number 1 of the year? Probably not.
That's not it. No, that's not it.
That's disappointing.
I already told you.
I can't remember what it was.
You told me. I don't know if you told John.
No, we did because I remember I said chances are it's not going to last, so I can talk about it.
Do you want to spoil it right now?
It's Guy Ritchie's The Covenant.
Oh, yeah. I'm just stupid. I forgot. Okay. Cool.
Great.
So I have 3 movies to choose from, 2 of which I have ordered on 4K. They're not here yet. I thought they would be for the reveal. I think they'll be here tomorrow. Regardless, we have The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
Animal House.
Okay.
And the unconventional pick, Holes.
Oh my fucking god!
You haven't seen Holes?
That's why I was asking.
I
have seen
times.
it, but it deserves a rewatch. It's been 15 years, so it's been 20 years. It
We've
came
all
out in
seen
2003.
It's not a first time watch. It's not the segment.
You'd seen Across the Universe.
Yeah, I'd seen it, but you hadn't, so it counted.
Okay. Well, let me pick another for 3. I had 2.
No, I mean it's chill. I mean that just narrows it down for 2 for me.
Willy
So I have to pick
Wonka.
one more. I think I've seen that. I have seen it. I was trying to think of another classic comedy to make it to round it out here. I've never seen Fast Times. That's one I could do.
Fast
I know.
Times
I have, but I would definitely do a podcast on it.
But then I feel like that might, because the other options are also really good. I feel like you would definitely go for Fast Times. It's a tough choice.
Well, out of the ones, all right, what are your picks so that we can go?
My picks are Big Lebowski and Animal House. Like those are the 2 I wanted to go between because I just got them on 4K. So
okay, I have my pick.
Okay, we'll go for those.
Yeah. Animal House and Holes. Okay.
Yep.
Digging up them
You have Holes on 4K?
No, I don't own it. That's just what I wanted to do.
I don't even
It's
know
my collector's corner. I don't own Holes though. I'll buy it though if it wins. I'll tell you that.
Don't.
No,
I have my pick.
I give it a 5% chance of winning. Okay, Nate, you ready?
I'm totally ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
dude, man, that's just like your opinion, man.
have you guys have both? You must have both seen The Big Lebowski.
I saw it in college, but it needs to be rewatched.
Okay. Yeah, no, Big Lebowski with the dude. You know, I've always wanted to see it. Jeff Bridges in his prime. Yeah.
Julianne Moore's titties. What?
Oh, I already saw that in what's that Mark Wahlberg
Still
movie?
Alice.
Boogie Nights. Oh man.
Oh,
great movie.
I thought that was Heather
Especially
Graham.
Julianne Moore's in it too, I think. I think they're both in it.
Oh.
Either way, Big Lebowski on next episode 2 weeks from now. Mark your calendars. But you guys know what that means, right?
Oh.
There it is.
Ooh,
on
I watched
DVD.
that
Oh, that's a
edition.
Blu-ray. That's a Blu-ray, I think.
I remember Spencer thought it was missing for years until he found it somehow.
Is that a Blu-ray? You did not need to order
double dipped on 4K.
Like, it's pointless.
Well, no, but like I've seen that 4K for like $10 for so long. I'm like, whatever. Like if I'm gonna rewatch it, I'm gonna rewatch it on fucking 4K. So
Whoa.
Snaps the Blu-ray in half. What if it never shows up? And what if the mail guy falls on a
it'll be here on Saturday.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
All right. So first time watch Big Lebowski. But you guys know what that means. It's time for
It's time for the answers to know this fact. For the questions I'm about to ask, like
What is the capital
of Bolivia?
It's mainstream
Brain
boy.
Trivia!
Is that really the capital of Bolivia?
It is. Yeah, it is now because this is so
Ever
popular
since-
that they legally changed the name of the capital of Bolivia.
Bolivia's
too.
been in the news recently, which is kind of weird because I'm like, I thought that was just like a fake name for our podcast jingle, but no.
It's actually an entire country too, if you could believe it or not.
Okay,
Yes, it
I
is.
was wrong, and Google listens. So, anyways, yeah, mainstream boy trivia. John, what you got?
I got a lot for you. I'm not gonna lie, this was thrown together with about 30 minutes before recording, but it's done. It's here.
Oh, that means
It's
I have
matter
a
of
chance.
fact.
Exactly. This
It
isn't
might
TFD.
not. We made it happen. It's mainstream boy trivia, as you guys all know. The game will consist of a variety of trivia questions derived by me. Spencer and Nate will buzz in. First dude to 3 will win the coveted honor of being named mainstream boy of the week. Guess the film, movie quotes. Who's that movie dude? All types of questions like that. This week, though, questions will be in the spirit of musicals
Zogger.
and dystopian movies.
Two very different.
Yeah, again,
Out
like I said,
there.
thrown together last minute. It's because we were talking about Hunger Games and Across the Universe. So
So it's
There
either
you go.
Moulin Rouge or Elysium. Go.
I was trying to weave in biopics as well, but I just whenever you look at biopics, I was like, oh, name the movie from the synopsis. It just says the guy's name in the synopsis, so it's fucking obvious. But
In
all
what
right.
film did Malcolm X come large and
Exactly. That was why I was like kept running into that wall. I'm like, it's 5:45. I can't do this right now. But here we go. I'm pretty sure you guys, you're either tied or Spencer's up 4-2. I don't know.
Spencer's up by. I've only won once, and it was the
No.
first one.
No, I think you've won twice.
No, because remember we had to dispute it, and Spencer was right. He had answered first, so I'm only taking credit for one win.
We should start taking notes on this because I don't know, because I would love to have like a full length episode where it's all mainstream boy trivia for the belt. I think that'd be
I'd do
sick.
that.
Well, when we stop doing bi-weekly and start doing weekly, I mean, we could definitely have just a trivia fucking game. So
A whole entire hour of trivia. Yeah, that'd be fun. Let us know if you think that'd be cool. Anyway, are you guys ready to see who?
I think I'm ready as I'm going to be. So that's good.
Okay. I love to see the excitement is real. You know what I mean? That's why I do this. Oh, well, we'll see if you get any of those today. Okay. Here we go. Question 1. Will you guys all right, I got the chat open. Oh, Deb already buzzed in. What's the
answer? What is Jennifer Lawrence?
Not a bad guess, Nate. If that was imagine if that was right.
What is
imagine. Oh. I think she's a human being. Here we go. Who was that movie dude? This could be a man or a woman. I will say it's not Jennifer Lawrence. Hint number 1. You'll get 5 hints. You can buzz in at the first one if you want. I was the lead in one of the best musicals of the 2000s. Deb?
Am I Ewan McGregor in Moulin Rouge?
Why is that playing over and over again? Oh, you got the repeat. The loop track is on.
I was like,
hold on.
Damn, calm down.
I think you got to go without the music for that. Okay, Spencer, are you buzzing in for this one? You
I just have a free guess for this.
Yeah, essentially.
I was the lead in one of the best musicals of the 2000s. That sounds very biased, but my honest opinion is Renee Zellweger in Chicago. Full Circle.
Oh, bullshit.
That's
bullshit.
Correct. I've been nominated for 4 Oscars.
I give
my
up.
First nomination.
Judy, Cold Mountain, Chicago, and Bridget Jones' Diary.
I beat out Saoirse Ronan and Scarlett Johansson in 2020 win Best Actress. My first Academy Award was for Cold Mountain.
Even without the fucking hints. Let's fucking go.
I hate that.
Can I throw in the towel? Because I kind
Zellweger, bitch.
I had a feeling once Chicago got brought up, I was like, oh, fuck.
Dude,
it might already be in his mind that he's going to get that one.
All right, moving on.
Damn it, Ducky. All right, Spencer up 1-0 here. Nate, you know what? You can come back. He was up 2-0 last time, and you made a run for it.
You know, after this first question,
Chicago's my favorite musical. If I got that wrong, then that's embarrassing.
It is one of the best musicals of the 2000s, without question, in my opinion. Question 2. Name the movie from the cast. We like these. These are fun, right? Here we go. Cillian Murphy, Olivia Wilde, and Amanda Seyfried. Keep in mind the theme, musicals, dystopian films. That should give you some sort of hint as to what type of film this is. If nobody can guess in the next... Oh, Debbie?
Is it Sunshine?
It's not Sunshine.
I don't know.
It's not a bad guess. Is Cillian Murphy in that? I think he might be.
Yeah, he's the lead.
Ducky, do you have a guess, or am I going to give pass? Okay. So I'm now going to give you the lead actor in this movie. You can be hot on the buzzer if you want. It is Justin Timberlake. Ducky?
In Time.
Yeah, it's in
Damn!
time.
Wow, what a throwback! I needed Justin Timberlake for that because that cast,
I
Cillian
knew that
Murphy,
too.
Olivia Wilde, and Amanda Seyfried. I'm like, what the fuck? What? That was throwing me off.
Yeah,
Then you said
I
Justin
knew
Timberlake,
it, but I didn't
and
think
everything
Olivia
came
Wilde
together.
was in it, so I didn't
Yeah.
say it.
I think she's like his other love interest, or I don't know. It's been a
Fun
long
fact:
time.
Roger Deakins shot that movie. So,
Really? It's
Yeah.
it's a solid movie. I remember actually quite
Actually,
liking it. My mom just watched it on Hulu, and she's like, "You guys should talk about In Time on the podcast." So I threw it in here.
It's a great concept, but not my favorite execution. But it's been a while, so who knows?
It might deserve a rewatch. I have it on Blu-ray.
Look, I watched it in your room on like your top bunk back
Oh,
in the day.
nice. That's fun. That sounds
Anyways.
weird now that you say it. I watched it in your top bunk in your room, but we were kids. You know, kids do fun stuff. Here we go. 2-0. Spencer's up 2-0. Going into question 3. Here we go. Name the movie from the synopsis. A veteran assigned to extract Earth's remaining resources begins to question what he knows about his mission and himself. Debbie.
Moon? Go figure, right?
Yeah, it's one of those games. It's not Moon. Ducky?
Wally.
That wasn't a real guess.
Not Wally, no. You know, it's funny. I almost chose Wally as one of these questions, but the synopsis gave too much away because it said
I was gonna
a
pass,
robot
but
named Wally.
I had to say something.
I don't have any other clues, so I'll try to think of.
Oh, what the fuck? Well, Nate just said. Nate
It's
just
guess the
buzzed
movie
in
from the
again.
synopsis.
Nate just buzzed.
Debbie. Okay, Deb.
Ad Astra?
If you don't get it on this next one, I'll say the year that it came out.
No, I pass. Yeah, I need something else.
Okay. This movie came out in 2013.
Nate just buzzed in again.
Oh, Nate.
Is this Elysium?
It's not Elysium. All great guesses, guys.
Gravity.
I don't believe Spencer's really guessing.
You don't think so?
I don't know it. I don't know it.
A veteran assigned to extract Earth's remaining resources begins to question what he knows about his mission and himself. I will give one actor in this movie.
2013.
I'm at a loss.
I'll give one actor. Morgan Freeman is in this movie as a supporting actor.
That's all I need. That's all I need.
Ducky.
Oblivion.
Never
Wouldn't
even
have
seen
gotten that from the premise, though. I did not realize that's what the movie's about.
Oh, it is Oblivion.
I just know that he falls in love with some like weird girl that like doesn't talk, and then that's it.
Yeah, and then there's like a bunch. Well, I don't want to give anything away, but yeah, Tom
No,
Cruise is
yeah.
like alone, and M83 does the whole soundtrack. It's a really good movie. I like Oblivion a lot.
Yeah.
I guess Spencer wins, but that's not good for content. So, question 4 for the fun. Put these 2014 dystopian films in order of release date. Okay? Again, we were back up against the wall. Here we go. Edge of Tomorrow, The Lego Movie, The Maze Runner, and Divergent. Put them in order of which came out first to last in 2014.
Go ahead, Ducky.
Okay. Well, I can see on the poster that the Lego Movie came out in February.
Oh, shit.
7th, so I'm gonna say the Lego Movie for number 1.
Oh, no.
Divergent must have been like a spring release as well, so I'll go Divergent for number 2.
Fucking
Edge of Tomorrow, I
stupid.
definitively remember seeing that in like June, so I'm gonna go June, and then Maze Runner. I think we saw that in college because John needed me to not be in the room when we got back from seeing that movie, and I had to go kill time. So I'm gonna go with that order, John.
That was a good night from my recollection.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. It's like a movie Divergent, Edge of Tomorrow, and The Maze Runner. It was February, March, May, and Maze Runner was definitely in September. Yeah, that's correct. So Spencer is 4-0 now. Question 5 for the fun. Name the movie.
Release dates himself. Anyways,
there he is. Yeah, it's funny when I saw those movies, I was like, oh, that was definitely like March, and I was right. Like 2013 is just like ingrained in my head and will never go away.
Again, like 2 minutes left. Let's go.
Emily Blunt has been in at least 4 dystopian movies in the last 10 years. Name 3 of them.
Okay, Nate, this is together. Ready? A Quiet Place.
I wouldn't consider that a dystopian movie though.
It is. That counts.
Oh,
I'll tell you if you got any of them right. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say one, but it wasn't 10 years.
40 seconds. We're not
Fuck
going
do
to
I know?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's so dumb.
Name one more.
Oh my god.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Good job.
I thought that came out in 2012.
Yay.
Edge of Tomorrow, Looper, A Quiet Place 1 and 2.
Looper. Okay, that's
Looper, I just watched it last night.
When did Edge of Tomorrow come out? 2012?
2014. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say that, but I thought it was of 2012.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Check us out in 2 weeks. We're going to talk about Big Lebowski and some new release movies.
And we have May, December, which is going to be on Netflix, which we all are going to watch. It's with Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore and Charles Melton from Bad Boys for Life.
Oh my
and
God, if you say so.
apparently, he's going to get an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor for this movie. It'll be on Netflix on December 1st. So watch May, December. And then if we can all get to the theater and see The Boy and the Heron, the new Studio Ghibli movie, that's going to be in theaters on December 8th. And in limited release, we have Poor Things. So we have a lot of movies to choose from.
Very Oscar-y stuff.
Next week. And very Oscar-y stuff as well. So a lot of great stuff to choose from. And then obviously we will have the Big Lebowski discussion. But John, where can they follow us?
At ThoseMovieDudes, baby. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Make sure you type in ThoseMovieDudes podcast, all lowercase, all one word, and you'll find this podcast, and you can watch us anytime.
Cool.
Thanks for watching, guys. Toodles.